Frankie Loyal in the Ride Boundless studio. Welcome. Thank you for making it out, man.
Glad to be here, brother.
It's wonderful. I heard a rumor you don't have a car. You have 2 motorcycles and you ride everywhere.
Yes. Have
Every
bills
day.
to prove it, and repair bills and maintenance bills.
That's fucking badass. How long have you been riding?
You know what's crazy is I started out, my little sister, her godfather's name was Barstow Tommy. Barstow. I was born out in Apple Valley. Barstow. It says I was born in San Francisco. It's actually not true.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
But did you live in San Francisco at all?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Tommy
Barstow.
Yeah, he rode choppers and motorcycles. So when I was 3 or 4, I think he had a Honda 750, chopped up how they did it back then because they ran longer distances.
Yeah.
And his Harleys. I would ride on the back with him. And
Sick.
yeah, he got me an Easy Rider poster from the movie when I was like 3 or 4.
What year was that? That was like, what, 67?
67 or 68. Yeah,
Something
and I
like
was
that,
born
yeah.
in 69. And when I got the poster, I didn't know what the movie was about, but I just thought it was cool. And I just always had a love for that. And then, we had, was it 70s and the 80s, we had motor scooters.
Yeah.
ATCs before they were ATVs. Then there was BMX.
Right.
And then
BMX, those were the days.
Right. And then the guys that I hung out with, we had a community bike because we had no money.
Yeah.
This when you had no helmet, no nothing. Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Because that's always been a dream of mine. A dream of mine is I want to get a bunch of good buddies and have a community garage, and we all just put our bikes in there.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I heard the community bike was borrowed.
That too.
But it was the 80s, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to fuck around like that. We'd like mess around and hijack the local bikes, and then we would take them apart and fix them up and mix them up. And be like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, and then one of the guys got mad. He got mad at everybody one day, and in a rage, he disassembled the bike and threw the parts in different various places. It was kind of a running joke.
Yeah. Barstow back in the days, dude, that was like in the middle. It's crazy. I'll tell you. I was driving in Vegas one time, and I had a flat tire. I get a flat tire right after I passed Barstow. Like probably 40 minutes passing it in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's cold.
It's cold, whatever. And I called a tow truck company, and they're like, oh, yeah, you got to call somebody locally. Anyways, long story short, I get a hold of this girl. And this girl's like, oh, I'll pick you up. I have the truck, this, that. I was like, cool. Oh, I called the tow truck. They're like, we'll be there within 5 hours. What the fuck? And I'm past that. I'm in the middle of nowhere. So I'm like, I'm not going to wait here for 5 hours. So then I call Barstow for a local taxi because there's no Uber in the middle of nowhere. And this girl answers and she says, I'll pick you up. Anyways, Barstow's such in the middle of nowhere today that this girl comes, picks us up, the sweetest girl in the whole world. She's like 22, 23, blue eyes, blonde hair, this, that. She was telling us, like, she's never even left Barstow. She's like, I've been to L.A. once when I was a little girl. I'm like, dude, you're like 2 hours away. And it's crazy how in the middle of nowhere it's at. How was that?
And the guy who probably owned the taxi cab company, his last name was Muncie.
Probably.
Yeah, because we grew up.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because she was like, we've been doing it for years. Yeah. And she actually said, like, my uncle or aunt runs it now. And they were sleeping, so it's crazy.
And we probably knew her family. Yeah, Hal Muncie was the guy that owned the taxi cab, if I'm saying his last name right. And he had a wife named Francina, and she was really nice too.
Wow.
Yeah, and Barstow Tommy's mom worked at the original Del Taco back in the day when they wore suits or kind of vests and the nice hats, and they were very formal looking.
Yeah.
And her husband's name was Dirty Ernie, and I think he rubbed off on Tommy when it came down to, he was a gearhead and a biker, and
Have you gone back? Do you visit?
I've gone back. In fact, I stay in touch with Tommy quite a bit. I think the part that made me really happy was when we did a couple episodes on the show. There's a photo in my mom's house, my made-for-TV mom's house, where it was actually Tommy on one of his choppers, and it was in the background. Was able to, once the show aired, to be like, look a little bit closer. And
that's sick.
Yeah. I mean, he's still a huge part of my life. I mean, he probably would have never been on 2 wheels if it wasn't for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sick. Huge. That's amazing. I bet you a lot of people don't know that story.
Yeah, he's amazing. And he also, like I said, you know, he worked at the high school and he helped kids learn how to wrench on cars and bikes, and just a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you end up in San Francisco?
Let me see here. Well, after I think I was 3 or 4, we moved up to a more centralized part of California, and I got into punk rock, you know, in San Francisco. Well, there was a town called Modesto.
I know Modesto.
And you had a lot of older kids at the time that were probably kicking certain vices. So they were moving back home, but they were in like, you know, 18, 19, some of them were in their 20s.
What year?
It was early 80s. That's all I can remember. And the thing was, they brought back a lot of really good music.
Yeah.
And you're like, who are these bands? And in San Francisco, there was a place that was one of my favorite venues. It was called The Farm. So we'd hitchhike, me and my buddies, and we would go see these punk bands play in the 80s. And I was like, I'm going to live here. And I heard when I was like 4 or 5, my parents, I remember they took me for my birthday, but I liked it. You know what I mean? I just had a feeling I was going to be there. And my favorite uncle, he lived there. He actually lived over in Lower Haight at Haight and Steiner.
Yeah.
And I ended up living in Lower Haight for a number of years.
That's close to Haight and Ashbury, right?
Right.
Fucking
I lived in Upper
capital.
Haight. Yeah, I lived in Upper Haight too.
That was the capital of the hippies in the 70s.
Right. Yeah.
Very famous. Amazing bars out there. Cool spot.
Yeah. Restaurants. I worked in a lot of the restaurants.
San Francisco
there.
was cool, huh?
It was
the shit.
I left at the right time.
Yeah.
But when I did live there, music was great. It was very neighborly. You know, whether your friends worked in the restaurants or the clothing stores or just clubs or anything, you could always kind of barter with each other.
Yeah.
And have, you know, still maintain a good lifestyle and pay your rent and have your money saved up. But I worked in restaurants cooking, so it'd be like, if you guys come in, you know, they'd be like, hey, wait, there's a show coming on, we got you in. And there was always a nice neighborly feel about it.
Yeah.
And I think late 90s, early 2000s before I moved, it kind of things were changing a bit.
The tech industry and the rent
the
started
dot
going
com
on.
boom.
Dot-coms, yeah.
It was a good time to leave. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
But, you know, I definitely wanted to pursue acting, and the agency I had there said, you're going to have to go to LA. You can't stay here and hope to work over there. So I made the move.
Yeah. So you left Barstow? No, Barstow or
Barstow,
Baker?
Apple Valley, Barstow, yeah.
Apple Valley, yeah. So you were there next to the
Roy
sand
Rogers.
flats and stuff and all. Man, that's fucking badass. Then you made it to Modesto,
Yeah.
which
Near
Modesto
Modesto, yeah. And
has grown like crazy. Modesto's like grown like crazy now, but back then.
But even back then, it was really interesting because there was a very
Fresno
unique,
area.
and we would go to the punk shows in Fresno, and there wasn't a unique artistic and musical scene that was super underground in Modesto. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of good bands.
Fat Cat. Do you know the Fat Cat?
Yeah, that was in Merced.
Merced. Dude, I got in the biggest fight in that fucking place.
Oh, yeah.
I was selling cars.
Wow.
And we were going city to city. We would do like 10 sales.
Yeah.
So we would do like Modesto one
Oh,
weekend.
wait. Fat Cat was Modesto. That's right.
Modesto.
Up Orangeburg.
On the Main Street, badass 2 stories. They had a VIP lounge. Anyways, we were doing a sale in Merced, but we were staying in Modesto.
Wow.
I think so. And it was that weekend. And we go to the Fat Cat, you know, we made cash that weekend. We're like, fuck, let's party it up. Where's this hot spot? Fat Cat. So we go up there, and I go with all my sales guys, and we party, and somehow we all made it into the VIP room.
Right.
And we're just having a good time. And I forgot what happens, but somebody tried to punch one of my guys. They miss. They hit one of the girls we brought in the head.
Not cool.
She falls back, gets up, and goes, oh, hell no. She socks him, and all of a sudden, everybody's fighting. Everybody's just like a movie. Boom, 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 boom. And then I got a couple punches. I'm like, fuck this. I'm out of here, right? So as I'm running out, we're in the top room. I go down the stairs, and security's running towards us. They're like, stop. I'm like, fuck this. Get out of there. And my buddy, Pierre, cops are running in, and the cops grab him. He just socks the fucking cops straight in the face. They rush him. He's in cuffs. He went straight to jail. And anyways, by the time we get out, there was a couple guys, you know, we had some black dudes, some Latin dudes. In Modesto, I guess there was a time where they weren't getting along. There was a big racial war. So some of the guys we were fighting with saw us outside, and they were like, hey, you're going to tonight. And we're like, how the fuck do we get out of this? This is
Right.
ridiculous. Anyways, long story short, I start fighting with one of the guys I came with, and because he started blaming me for starting the fight. This shit gets fucking crazy. Next thing you know, we made it in the Suburban. We're running back to our hotel, and these guys say, fucking Cuban. And I'm like, what? And I'm fucking drunk, you know? Fuck you. So then we start fighting in the Suburban. Now the Suburban's swerving all over the freeway. We're fucking elbowing, boxing, this, that. I jump out the fucking back of the Suburban. They leave me. The girl that punched the other guy takes my shoe off. Now I'm walking on the side of the freeway, one shoe on, one shoe off. I'm walking. A limo pulls up. And they go, dude, what the fuck are you doing? I go, dude, they abandoned me. And can I get a ride? They're like, yeah, all right. They give me a ride. I'm like, I'm going to get kidnapped. Like, this is fucking really bad. Anyways, they give me a ride. I grab my shit, go to where we're selling cars, grab a fucking key, take one of the vehicles, and drive to L.A.
No way.
And I'll tell you, it was the worst drive ever. When I pull over at a gas station, I was so dehydrated, I just get like a Pepsi. Back then, I used to drink Pepsi. I drank my Pepsi. It tasted like a Long Island. Like, that's how much alcohol I had on my breath. Anyways, I don't know how I made it home.
Well, that's a regular night in Modesto when we used to hang out there. It was
That's what happens. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. And all those Modesto, Merced,
People,
fucking Fresno.
They like to fight.
Yeah.
And that's and the thing is, I understand it now in retrospect because I grew up, there's sometimes there's a hopeless place. There's a hopeless feeling there. Like, this is as good as it's going to get. And you're frustrated and you're mad. And, me and my friends, had a bunch of punk rockers and, so that doesn't work. So you got jocks, cops, cowboys, Modesto,
Gangs, drug dealers.
They were never, they got us in a way. Like, they never gave us a hard time. And it was funny because Saturday I met Ricky Rocket.
Yeah, Ricky Rocket's bad.
Such a good
Ricky
guy.
Rocket!
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
And I was just like, I was aware of your band, but, we were punk rock guys. But we got along with the rockers. We had a mutual respect. They were freaks. We were freaks. They were outcasts. We were outcasts. So it was always kind of cool. And they got down too. So it was just weird to think that you always had that going on one way or another. Something was going to happen. And
right.
Sometimes you look for it. A lot of the times you didn't. But
every night.
That was Modesto.
Yeah.
And when I go back sometimes, things like come back to me like, oh, yeah, I remember this.
No, as soon as you said
different
it,
now.
It's like when you go to Disneyland, you think of like, oh, they have the best fucking ice cream, whatever. When you think Modesto, like I got in a fight there. Everybody's had a fight there.
And it's true, and it's just there's just something there, especially back then. It was just, and to me though, it was just one of those things that sometimes people you fought, you'd see them around the next week and be like, oh, it was done. It wasn't, there's going to be a retaliation or a revenge thing, or it was just kind of like people were bored.
Yeah.
And I don't even think we really thought of it as violence. I think everybody was just pent up and everybody had their time.
Yeah.
But now it's, like I said, I think it was a different time, I think.
No, I think it's still the same.
Yeah. Usually it was this, never heard about guns or knives or, very, very seldom was that even a possibility back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
crazy. It's more like the whole cowboy thing. So now you make yourself out up in Modesto. You're in the band. You guys are rocking out. Then Frisco?
Yeah,
what was the opportunity? Was it a girl? It was a girl.
No. I moved there. I think I just turned 18, had my first apartment, and it was a little rough back then. Yeah. And then I got a little bit of trouble, and I remember I went to the Culinary Academy. Now, keep in mind, I worked in restaurants because, when you had weird hair, weird piercings, back then, you couldn't work for the public,
Right, you had to be in the back.
Had to be in the back. And I was a dishwasher, but I loved it. I really did. I had a rhythm. It was fun. It was cool. Nobody messed with me. I got to listen to my music. And then I remember I was efficient, so they wanted to move me into prep cooking and then on the line, but I didn't want to change how I looked, so I always had to stay back in the kitchen. But I remember I had to go to court once, and I'll never forget, his name was Judge Robert Quall. Never forget this man. Nothing but gratitude towards him. He kind of figured, you got some trouble, but I don't really think something's not adding up. I think there's more to you than what we're seeing. And he goes, so if you can stay out of trouble for a couple of years, and you know, what do you do? I play in a band. He's like, what do you do? I was like, I play in a band. He's like, do you have a job? I'm like, yeah, I work in a restaurant. He goes, well, you're going to go to a culinary academy or a trade school. I didn't even know what culinary meant.
Right.
So I went and graduated from the California Culinary Academy.
Holy shit.
There was only 2 schools at the time, CIA in New York and CCA. And I graduated and worked in restaurants. And the thing I love about that was I had a place to be, kept me out of trouble. I learned so much about different cuisines and foods, met some amazing people. Yeah. And, you know, I didn't starve.
Yeah.
And even when I moved to LA, I was working in restaurants, and thank God for that, because I probably would have starved. I mean, LA was the only place for the first few years where I felt like I worked so much and I was still trying to keep my head above water, you know, because it's a tough place to break into.
Yeah.
And it's totally different from what I was used to in San Francisco. And I didn't know if it was going to be home for me, but it's home now. And
What year did you make it to LA?
I think 2001, 2002. I've been here over 20-something years.
Yeah.
And I don't plan on leaving. I mean, it's home.
Yeah, it's home.
When I go back to San Francisco, it is so nice to go back. And I do go to a lot of the old haunts, even though it's changed a bit. And I still have a lot of good people there that I love and miss. But LA's home. It's home.
Yeah. LA's my home, will always be my home. Right. Love this place. And I say, look, I like LA a lot.
Right.
I love California.
I love California.
California. You know, PCH all the way up,
right.
Santa Cruz, Watsonville, Castroville, Salinas, Modesto, Fresno, all those little
right.
fucking Redlands, Mount Shasta. Like,
it's a beautiful state. We get a bad rap.
No, that's good. I've always said you can like just throw me anywhere in California, and I guarantee you I'll know somebody within like whatever 10 miles, 10, 15 miles.
I can relate.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you know, we were in Flagstaff and just out of boredom we were checking the elevation level, and it's a Big Bear. And I remember riding through Big Bear going like, this reminds me of South Dakota. I mean, I like going to Sturgis and I like going to South Dakota, but I feel like I'm in South Dakota. It's almost like cheating, but not really. It's like, there's something different in California. You got Yosemite, you got the sequoias, it just doesn't, the beaches.
PCH, you got the beaches, you got Palm Springs, the deserts.
I love riding through the desert.
Within 2 miles, you can have whatever you want. Lake Arrowhead, I've been doing the Lake Arrowhead ride a lot more, and I'm like, it's only an hour and a half. On a bike, it's an hour and a half. It's a quick thing. And it's a different thing. We took the guys out there, I don't know, like 3-4 weekends ago, and it was shitty weather. It was like overcast and nasty. And by the time we went up the hill, we were on top of it, and it was sunny, beautiful. The service was great. The food was great. Nice environment.
Yeah, you can do the 29 Palms, the Big Bear, back down. It's just
I love Palm Springs. Fuck it. Even if you want to escape it, Vegas, 4 hours away.
I don't mind it. The only crazy thing about riding to Vegas, and I love riding to Vegas, is once you hit Victorville, Barstow, 2:30 in the morning with the winds. It's summertime and it feels like winter. You're freezing. And I go, like I was going solo on that trip out to meet this really nice gal, and she was pretty cool.
Nice. It was worth it.
It was worth it, but
it gets cold.
I remember freezing, and I remember being so close, like I didn't want to get off the bike. And then there's that one major hill that you take that's downhill all the way, and it's like the last gas station on the right.
Right.
And I was on E, and I wasn't even on reserve. And I remember pulling in, and I'm shivering. My hands I'm just freezing. I'm trying to find whatever, I have on me, because it's summertime, You're thinking, no way.
Yeah.
And guy's like, I'm getting ready to shut the pumps off because we got to change over for the next shift. And I'm like, he's like, you can get your gas though. And I'm like, thank you. And he's like, I recognize you. And I'm like, you do? And he goes, yeah. Are you cold? I'm like, yeah. He said, come on in the gas station. So I got to hang out with him. He was so kind. He let me thaw out for about 30 minutes before I got back on the road.
Get some coffee, tea.
And get some coffee and some gummy bears. I like my gummy bears. Yeah. And it was like, that's the stuff when you go on the road I like. Yeah. The kindness of strangers. You meet people along the way. You're just, always interesting people. And that's, I think, it gives you a good perspective, I think. wherever you go. Like we came back from Arizona. Every little place we stopped just met some, like, even Sturgis, like past couple of years, you always meet
people on the road,
random
at the
kind
hotel,
people,
at the gas stations, everywhere.
And it's just nice. I like that.
Isn't it weird that people have this thing of like, watch out with strangers. Strangers are fucking this, and it's like, dude, I almost trust a stranger more than some people that I know. And I always give this example where, if I get a flat tire and I call some of my friends, depending if they're working or not, there's conditions.
Yeah.
Hey, can you help me out? Oh, dude, I can't. I got to pick up the kids. I got to do this. I got to do that. But a random stranger will stop, pull over, and say, how can I help you out? What do you need help with? Here, I got a crowbar. I can make it faster. I got AAA.
Right.
And when you do these journeys, you're just dealing with straight out strangers.
Yeah.
And then to even add to it more, some of the people that usually get fucked over, it's usually by people you know.
Right.
It's usually a family member or a friend or somebody.
Somebody looking for an in.
And someone looking for an in. It's usually people you know that fuck with you.
And you see that a lot.
A lot.
And seriously, I do think about the kindness of strangers.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Sturgis, this last time I wanted to go see a friend. She's out on the reservation. And apart from when we got there, we were doing 250, 300 miles a day, just riding random places. There was 10 of us.
Nice.
And it was raining, and the weather was just insane. And there was one of the chapters, one of the native tribal chapters out there, and it's pouring rain. It's almost monsoon. Like, they waited an hour and a half on the side of the road for us to get there so they could guide us where we needed to go. We just met them through a friend, and it was just how we got tight with them after. They took us all over, different parts of the res, and it was just, wow, how would this ever happen if I tried to do it by my own doing? No, it's
impossible. Yeah,
it just, the road takes you somewhere, and you always meet great people.
And those are the spirits and messengers and people guiding you.
And that's the thing; it's magic to me.
Yeah,
that's why if you have to pry me off my bike, okay, I get it. You got time to sleep and get through life. But even last week, we went to the Grand Canyon. We just went because I like it. It was me and my buddy Eddie, and that's how we process our stuff. It's like, I just want to get this out of my head. Let's put some miles behind us. And it was a Laughlin run. So every gas station we stopped at, we ran into people along the way that we knew, and it was just, even out there, you think you're out there on your own, you're not. It's just people, it's that tribe.
How is, let's talk about the Mayans, FX Mayans. How, I mean, I'm sure it's exactly what you're talking about, but how has it changed your life? Like you go to these biker events, you guys are humongous celebrities at all of them. Like, what are the positive? How does that make you feel?
I mean, I'm probably the worst person to ask on that one.
No, you're the perfect person to ask.
I try to stay under the radar. I really do.
I know, but it doesn't matter.
I try to stay under the radar.
Good luck.
I like going to those events because I ride with a lot of the people there. The majority have been very gracious. It's whether I'm riding alone, I'm doing me, and that's from that standpoint, or if I'm riding with a group of people that we go on our big journeys or our little trips here and there. For me, it's good because those are my people.
Yeah,
and I have a place.
The biker community,
right? And the show's one thing. It's made for TV. It's make believe in a lot of ways.
Right.
So the one thing I knew, and I'm grateful for, is that when the show was going to end, I still knew where my tribe was.
Right.
And not even a month or two after the show ended, my guys, it was 10 of us, went on this long road trip, and my tribe was there, and I was still kind of coming down from everything. I was still pretty raw, still a little, just kind of trying to just process everything. And I had my guys with me that had my back, and then just the people we met along the way, just so many good people. And there's a part of me that I'm always surprised. It's never changed. People, we'd be at gas stations, you want to talk about the show, or they had something to say about it, and I forgot that we were doing a TV show because I was so focused on doing what was in front of me. I didn't really go, oh yeah, we're going to be on on TV this week,
Still
or
closer.
we're going to be on TV this week, or we're going to, this is out there in the world. It's like just trying to get to the next episode and not get killed.
Right.
And so I was always amazed by that. Like, wow, people really watch the show, and they always had these interesting takes on it. And I think if there's something I got from the show that meant a lot to me, it was just interacting with people I never would have met before, and some of the things they had to tell me that were impacting, and that's what I liked.
Yeah.
And to me, that means more than. It's just, I think, in this world with the pandemic, with the state of things with politics, I think the fact that the human condition where people still come together despite what people believe, what they see on social media, what they read in the news, that people are still good people and they still want to interact. They don't want to be as disconnected as I would have believed at one time or wanted to be at one time.
Right.
The world's still a good place.
It is a good place.
And a lot of that, I think, came from the show because it kind of put me out there. Otherwise, I'd still be reclusive. I'm kind of reclusive.
Yeah, a few things to that. It's the world is a great place, and it's interesting because if you look at, like, I don't want to say the government, but if you look at the agenda, it's like they try to separate us however they can. This neighborhood versus that neighborhood,
Right.
this street versus this street, that color versus
Classism,
that color,
yeah.
classism, economy.
Right.
It's weird, and that's how you can tell that everybody is awesome and cool,
Right.
because there's actually a system trying to break that up.
Right.
Which is insane, and it's sad.
I mean,
it's sad that it gets to that.
And it's affected a lot of people. People ask me, like, does this freak you out? I'm like, well, in high school, I was lucky enough to read 1984, Brave New World, and I listened to punk rock music. There was a lot of us that were already not anticipating it, but I think we were kind of aware. There was an awareness, and I wasn't surprised at things I saw. But I don't know if it's because I've gotten older. I don't think I've mellowed out, but I definitely have a broader perspective, and I always try to stick to, there's humanity. Like when they talk about acting, you're not acting, you're telling a story. You got to find the humanity in the person that you're telling a story about. And I always try to gear back to, like, where's this person's humanity? Most people have it.
Yeah.
And if some people don't, it's because they've made that choice to not.
It's almost like you have to make more effort not to have it than to just be yourself and
Right.
fucking be a good person.
And that's the thing. And it's helped me break down a lot of my own hang-ups about people, places, and things. Things that were hard for me to get over and address. And that's probably another thing that came out of the show. I do believe that on a personal level, it made me fight for what I wanted to do by being on the show, because I had nobody backing me on that one. Like, I had to kick down the door to be seen. But also, I think I became a better, wiser person out of it. I told somebody close to me on the show, I said, if I were to have a conversation with me now to the person I was when I started, we have a very different conversation. And I definitely feel a little scarred at times, definitely not unscathed, but wiser and more grateful about, the bigger picture of it all. So there's a lot of perks. And like I said, Kurt and Elgin, they gave me a shot, and I'll never forget that. Elgin James was just such a huge impact on me. To this day, I've got nothing but love for that guy. He's just an amazing, amazing human being.
On the show, and I'm sure everybody's like a family. Overall, everybody's like a family there. But on the show, because you said not getting killed off,
Right.
How soon did you guys know? Like, did you guys know the whole season, or was it per episode that you guys were getting scripts and then you only knew it was happening, that way?
Every season was different.
Yeah.
The upside to the pandemic was we were familiar with how that season was going to play out if we were going to return, which we did, which was season 3. And that's when I felt like my character was really, people were starting to kind of get him a little bit more what he was about. And we were familiar with everything up till the season finale. So that was nice, because it gave me something to focus on, to prepare for, to be ready for. And
It wasn't expected, right?
what, the pandemic or
No,
just
the final season.
the fight? Yeah, I mean, well, the final season, I mean, with streaming and everything, shows are limited. You
Right.
usually go to 5 seasons, and we made that. You know, we didn't get canceled. I just think in my heart it was the right thing to do. Because who wants to see? I mean, I didn't want our show to be like the Rolling Stones 100th farewell tour. You know,
Right.
I wanted it to end where it needed to, because with all the killing, with all the crime, there's going to have to be some payback. There's going to be a comeuppance on us. We deserve to die. We're bad people.
Yeah.
We're doing bad things. Now, we all had our own humanities. You know, like I had my mom, you know, who was, you know, that's probably the woman that gave me my conscience on the show, or my humanity, and the fact that, you know, I still had love for the guys in the club, but there was also a frustration,
Right.
because I knew some of them were doing dirt, and that all came out in the end. And but it just, like I said, it's crazy to think about how it all finally ended, how it all came about. You know, it was interesting,
Yeah.
and it was definitely a tough day. The last day, you know, the final scenes were very tough. I think I was, I went into a corner of the clubhouse right before we shot the last scene, where we were sitting at the table, and I broke down. I was like, this is it.
It's fucking hard, man.
It was hard, you know, and
Fucking hard. It's family. It's almost, it's real to you.
it was very real to me.
It's real. I'm sure it was real to everybody. Like,
Yeah. The thing that was hard for me, you know, you always put the work first, and I did. But it was also, I didn't want to misportray or misrepresent the world that we were playing in a disrespectful manner. So I always had that in the back of my head, because these are people that I see on the road, I see at functions, people that watch the show, and I always wanted to hang on to that respect and do it honorably, to be righteous about it. Whether I was doing good things or bad things, that wasn't what it was about. It was just being a righteous character. And
right.
that was something that was really, that was heavy for me at times.
It meant a lot to you.
It did. And, you know, having people come and saying, hey, you know, the way you played this, we really respect that, or we appreciate that. And there was times people from clubs would come up and, you know, give me like rings and things that were just like, wow. And because, you know, when it comes to that world, it's not about money or gold or silver. It's about, you know, if somebody passes something on to you, there's something behind it and
You said it, honor.
it meant a lot. I mean, it did. I felt good about that, because at times you just don't know, you know.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know how people are going to act to it. You don't know if they're going to be offended, bothered, disrespected,
Right.
you know, honored. You know, it's very, very, it's very risky. It's very risky. You
Yeah.
know, it's risky to do a show about the lifestyle,
Right.
but it's even more riskier to be the actors executing the story, because you don't know. If you really think about it, you zoom out from the whole thing, people could have taken it like completely the wrong way.
And that's why
You
I
know?
was
And
just,
you see little incidents where, you know, what was it? Some dude wearing a Sam Crow or Sons of Anarchy jacket, but he's trying to act like something different, and you know, they ripped the jacket off him. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, that's a show. Like, it's crazy that people honor it to that point.
I've seen some interesting stuff. Yeah.
Tell me, what was the craziest one you said? Yeah,
I can't.
YouTube, guys, YouTube.
I can't. Yeah, I really can't.
But there's a lot of shit like that.
I've seen some things.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But it's cool. It's like you guys did such a good job that people respected it, honored it, and you know, and it's been out so long that
right.
it's been long enough that if it was a problem,
Right.
you know.
I mean, it's weird, because to me, it's been a year and a week. So I'm still, you know, I mean, I've finally put most of it, not behind me in a way where I put it behind me, but it's finally kind of processed. You know, now it was never ours to keep. And that's the one thing that I remind myself. However I felt about things a certain way at times or whatever, it's irrelevant. It was never ours. We were telling a story, and however people want to take it, you know, or interpret it, talk to us about it, whatever. You know, it belongs to the world. It's out there.
Yeah.
So I just had to look at it like, you gave a chunk of your soul to tell the story, hopefully a good one. And, I can live with that. Yeah.
That's a beautiful story. Talking about honorable and humane, you are the Los Angeles ambassador for the Distinguished Gentleman Ride, which is this Sunday. First of all, thank you for taking that role. It's a hard role. It's an honorable role. We were talking about how excited you are to do it.
I am.
Let's talk about DGR.
Well, first off, I'm going to be on a Triumph, and I'm going to be wearing a suit. So I'm going to clean it up nice for that, right? I got to say this to Triumph. They were so gracious on reaching out to me and providing a bike for me, and just, what do you need? How can we help you help this cause? So super stoked on that.
That's awesome. Great bikes, by the way.
Great bikes, and there's Don.
Don's awesome.
Right.
Don,
and Anthony, right? And just getting to talk to them on the phone.
Ricky, all of them.
Ricky, yeah, like that guy was just epic. That was a treat. The Saturday, I just had last Saturday with those guys just talking, and they are all about this in the most
Hardcore.
legit, like, these guys are so down for this cause. And I picked up on that, and I was like, these guys are the real deal. They're not highlighting something just for social media approval or for status. These guys really care about what they're doing.
Dedicated.
And the whole men's mental health thing. Trinidad, my partner, and I were really taken in by that because, he's a Marine. He served. He's all about, his love for the vets and mental health with the vets. And, with recovery, I'm all about that too. And it speaks to us because we go through that daily. And, to see these guys, when I met them, because I was like, well, what are you guys really about? I'm just curious. And they were very transparent. And even got to the point where we hang up, hey, if you ever need to call me at 3 a.m, you pick up the phone and call. I'll take your call. I'm here. They mean it. And that's being worldwide, and, it's a legit cause. I'm like, yeah, I can get behind this. And yeah, if I have to wear a suit and, ride a Triumph for the sake of, keeping awareness going, get me in.
Yeah.
And I'm psyched.
And just to be clear, for the people that are mostly everybody in this channel is familiar with it, but it's DGR's, it's Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. It's been going on for 12, 13 years. Right. I've had Mark Hawa on the show. They collaborate with Movember, and it's to bring awareness to men's mental health and prostate cancer. And it's the second biggest organization in the world, first being breast cancer.
Right.
So it's a big, big, big deal.
Right.
And Donald, Anthony, I'm a hardcore. We're all about it.
Definitely.
And it's amazing you've taken this role. How did they come to you? How was that approach? What was the path to that?
I reached out to my awesome agent.
Awesome agent.
She is. Gloria, I love you wherever you are.
Gloria.
Gloria. And like I said, I wanted to talk to him. I just kind of wanted to fill it out because, we get asked to do things sometimes. And sometimes you can tell who's about it and who's just looking for some extra scratch or a little, step up in the ladder. Well, I'm the wrong guy for that because I can't help you.
Yeah.
But just, I don't know, after the show ended, being in my head for a while. And 98% of the time being on the road clears your head, that, but that doesn't always work. And sometimes life just happens. And knowing that you're around men, that are like, yeah, it's all right to talk about things because we're used to being protectors and we're used to being prideful and we're used to being like, I got this handled. Well, sometimes we don't always have it figured out. And it's okay to say that. And sometimes people get that twisted with being weak or soft. And it's like, no, that's not what this is. We all have our breaking points.
Of course.
And I realized that, a couple of years ago, when I was working through my life, it's like I've spent not most of my life, but all of my life like that. And that hasn't always worked out for me. And you get tired.
Right.
And you realize that you're always in fight mode. And I don't mean in a violent sense. I just mean you're fighting to keep your head above water. You're fighting for your survival. And we all have our breaking points. And I think I hit mine. And that's where I was like, wow, these guys are talking. It's almost like an AA meeting, so to speak, but people are really involved. They want to keep you and keep your head above water. They don't want you to drown. And that said volumes to me. And, you know, I want to show up for other people too. And I do make that a point because, like I said, when I got sober, and I had a lot of help. I had the kindness of strangers. I had people that helped me find myself when I couldn't find myself, or love myself when I couldn't love myself. And I never forgot that. And you always have to pay it forward. People don't give you something and it's yours to keep. You got to pay it forward.
Right.
And when the DGR gentlemen, you know, Anthony and Don, you know, I just looked at these guys like, I really like these guys. Even when this event ends, you guys aren't going anywhere. You know, and then, like I said, meeting Ricky Saturday, just talking about life and motorcycles and
mental health.
And mental
dealing
health.
with stuff,
Yeah.
the good and the bad.
It's been very healing. This kind of upped the ante with this whole DGR thing. I mean,
It was unexpected. I mean, how familiar were you with the event before they approached you?
I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, anybody on two wheels, I got respect for, because we're out there and you know how the road is. It's no joke. Whether you're on the freeway, the highway, you're in the streets of LA where people are on their phones or doing illegal U-turns or the hills. Right.
You know?
So, you know, you see your guys out there, but it was always kind of like, you know, the joke with, you know, oh, these guys are a bunch of hipsters or whatever. No, these guys are more rock solid in a lot of ways, you know, when it, you know, and they're all about it. And I rode one of these guys, you know, yesterday when we were checking out some of the routes, and I was like, I like the way these guys ride. And it was just, it was a good way to bring us together. I mean, we're different in what we ride in some respects, but we're still kind of the same.
Right.
And we all want to live and be happy. And, you know, we're not that different, you know. So it was a surprise, but it's definitely made me more aware of a lot of things that I wasn't even aware of about myself, you know, when it comes to like, man, I've been through some stuff. Like, I need to kind of go easy on myself a little bit. I need to, you know, it's all right to kind of feel like this sometimes. And, you know, because sometimes we get the pressure that we're supposed to always be okay and everything's all right. And I never make it a point to put on any airs. I don't. But sometimes when you're trying to just keep your game face on for the sake of getting through the day, it gets a little tough.
Yeah.
You know, we've all had our struggle. Everybody has a struggle. And I think that's something when you can really say that about other people and not make it about yourself. I think that also kind of makes you feel more in touch with people around you. Because I tend to be an isolator or a recluse unless I'm with my guys.
A lot of us are.
Mm-hmm. You know, you get me on that bike, I'm out.
Yeah.
See you later. But that's just my coping mechanism, because before it used to be other things.
Right.
So.
I mean, I'm going to say it again. This is huge that you took this role, and it's very honorable.
Thank you.
And, you know, many people, there's all kinds of bikes that ride this. There's Harley bikes, Triumph bikes, you know, Suzuki's, BMWs,
Right.
It's everything. But to have an ambassador that represents, like, you know, the Harley culture only, and to step down and suit up, like, dude, that's amazing.
Thanks.
And I know, thank you. And I'm happy it worked out. And I think this Sunday, May 19th, is going to be a fucking legendary ride.
I'm excited. I can't count the days too soon.
Yeah. It's right around the corner, man.
And, you know, I'm still that insecure kid that, you know, didn't have the cool clothes growing up. And I always be self-conscious. That's why I like my boots and my jeans and my shirts. I'm good. But the guys from Savage Suiting, Matt and his wife, you know, suited me up for this great event. And I'm actually excited to kind of dress up nice for the day. Like, I'm excited. It's going to be something different. You know, it's out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to have a good time with it.
You're like, fuck, man. The only time I wear a suit is when I go to court.
Or funerals, right? I mean, it's true.
It's true. I know.
The one thing when it comes to motorcycle funerals, we tend to go how we go. And I do. That makes it more comfortable in a weird way, because it's not a comfortable situation. But yeah, suits are usually just not my get down. Even for the red carpets, I was like,
Well, now that we're talking about suits and clothing, I want to talk about something real quick about the Mayans and your partnership.
Oh, yeah.
So you and Trinidad, which I just had him recently on the podcast, you guys partnered up. You have your own line with him. And then I heard you were wearing, throughout the Mayan show, you were wearing Trinidad gear, denim.
In the fourth season and all of fifth season, yes.
That is amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, guys my size, and it's the reason I wanted to do the Loyal jean.
Right.
I don't want to look like I'm in a midlife crisis wearing skinny jeans, and especially when you're
Hey!
riding. Well, but you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
when you're riding, and any rider knows that when you throw your leg over the bike, sometimes the jeans hike up,
Right.
and they suffocate your calves, they strangle them, and it's not a comfortable ride sometimes. So I wanted something that was a little bit looser but stylish.
Yeah.
And I came close a couple times with a couple brands, and I know the guys that have those companies, and they're solid guys, they're righteous. But Trinidad and I, managed to connect somehow. And he's like, well, I'll send you a couple pair of jeans. Try them out. Tell me what you think. And I liked them. I really liked them. I rode in them, and I was like, these are pretty cool. So we sat and talked shop one day, and he goes, well, what would you do different? And I go, as a rider, this is the only thing I would do. There's not much to change because you've got something good here. And sometime later, he's like, hey, you want to do a collaboration? I'm like, well, I don't know, because, people ask me that a lot. So he made 4 prototypes. First 2 they were good, but they weren't it, and I knew that. And then the third one was good, but when I put on the 4th pair, for some reason, I wish I would have had that first. It was a magical pair of selvage denim, and I put 20,000 miles on those jeans.
Holy shit.
And I was just getting to know Trinidad. And I remember I finally got my Cardo, my pack talk for my helmet.
Yeah.
I got that from my agent and
Those
my
are amazing.
bratty little sister. That's it. I didn't get it for and music. I don't like to answer the phone when I'm writing, but every once in a while I would answer it, and I'd be like, "Who is it?" Because I don't, my phone's in the back. I don't see who's up there. And he's like, "Trinidad." I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up? What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm on the bike." He goes, "It sounds really good. You're on the bike. I can't hear nothing because there's
Brought to you by Cardo.
right, And I'm like, "Well, it's a good thing. You're gonna have to call me back if I lose you." Why? I go, "There's like a sandstorm coming." I got caught in a sandstorm. The jeans didn't tear away. Like how they, that weird wind tear, that patterns, that none of that.
Out, yeah.
I've been in the snow. I've been in the rain. I've been in excessive heat. I've been in everything of those pants. And when we sat with the lawyers and my agent to, seal the deal with, his people before we merged, I'll never forget, because they go, well, so do you really stand by these jeans? My agent and lawyer asked, 2 awesome women, the most trusted women in my life, and my sister. I said, yeah. And she goes, well, how do you know? And I said, well, I put 20,000 miles in the 1 pair. And my agent, she kind of goes like, I go, yeah, they could practically walk by themselves, but I had to know. I had to check them out that way. I go, if I were to whistle, they could probably walk over and, jump on me. But,
of course.
But I tried them, and they're solid. He's a craftsman. He knows what he's doing. And partnering up with him, we got to know each other through this whole process. And we honestly become like brothers. And when you do business with people, there's that fine line. And, like any business, you have crazy times, but we always work together. We have a respect for one another. We never take our bad days out on each other.
No, you guys support each other. You were telling me that.
We go in together. And we kind of joke, like I said, we joke about the flat tire incident. It's like we're on to bigger and better things. We don't let the small stuff get us. Couldn't have been more fortunate to have a business partner like him.
You're both very lucky. You're both very lucky. I had him on. I had an idea, of some of his story. Actually, very little of his story.
Yeah.
But the first thing I heard is somebody walked up to me and they're like, "Oh, Trinidad, just randomly." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm trying to get him on." They're, "Oh, that guy's amazing. He's a Marine vet, and he started making things for people that were missing limbs."
Amputee program.
Yeah, and he started making this clothing and fitting to make them look cool and happy, and I was like, "Dude, that's amazing. I can't wait to have him on." And then we were talking, and it's just like, just so many miracles, between, his family, between
amazing
the
family
business, between his wife, his kids, his high school suite. Like, it's,
yeah.
I swear Jaime started it,
Mm-hmm.
but he was like, hashtag blessed.
Yeah.
And now we're always like, hashtag blessed, hashtag blessed, hashtag blessed. And we're always talking about it, but very, very, very lucky partnership.
Lucky.
And interesting thing, real quick, touch back on the men's mental health. It's interesting because, we had a little session unplanned where we were just talking about 45 minutes about life and how things happen. And it's like necessary. We have to communicate this.
Because it wears on you.
It wears on you. And I want to bring up again, Movember has a phone line dedicated that if anybody's dealing with anything, you can call that line and talk to anybody at any time, as well as if you know Donald or me or anybody, like just you know, pick up the phone and start dialing. There's no reason to deal with shit and close your world off in today's world right now.
And that's the irony of it too, because everybody's saving each other on that. And that's a thing that, you know, I think why this means a lot to me is when I was about 12, I had a cousin. He was a firefighter. He was half Mexican and half Scottish, so he was tall.
Yeah.
Played the bagpipes. Just a cool, cool guy. And he took his life. That's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that was the thing, right? I mean, he was just a happy-go-lucky guy, and he took himself out. And as a kid, you can't make sense of that. It doesn't make sense. You're just like, how, why? I don't understand. Like, you know, you're trying to process this as a kid. And I was 11 when that happened, and I never got over it to this day. And I think that's why, you know, one of the charities I do with the firefighters, you know, I'm so big on that. I love working, you know, it's a Firehogs MC in LA County and San Gabriel and San Diego Firehogs. Like, it's very important to me. It's very personal. But it's just, you don't realize that there's a not a give and take, but there's a to and from. I remember, this is a crazy story. This story, I'm not going to tear up because but I remember, you know, you have people that write you on social media sometimes because we're a little more accessible at times, but I'm always a little cautious of that. But there was a guy, and he was like, man, I'm having a hard time quitting drinking. You know, I don't know if I can do it. I see that you do it. How'd you do it? You know, I'm thinking about just like giving up. Like, I've got nothing. Like, I'm done. Like, you know, I was worried he was going to take himself out. I mean, I really was. And you're kind of like, I don't know you. You're on social media. Like, is this real? Is this, you know, you just never know.
Right.
But I had a feeling, I think this guy's really hurting.
Kind of sounded familiar, no?
Yeah. So I was just like, hey, man, like, I'm the best and worst example. I'm a guy who screwed everything up in my life, and I got it back. And if you would have said, hey, man, you know, like I always tell people, yeah, I know what I do for a living, but don't think for a second that, well, it wasn't easy to get there. But at the same time, you can look at somebody who's lost everything and they got it back. If somebody like me, with all the stuff I've been through in my life, can do something, you are no different. You have the same opportunity. You just got to hang in there. And I remember we went back and forth a little bit, and then I never heard from the guy again. And I don't remember his profile. I don't know if he deleted it or whatever. But fast forward, I go to Sturgis last year. And like I said, I was a little overwhelmed, and I was meeting a lot of people that, you know, want to talk about the show, photos, and everybody was gracious. There was nothing negative. The only thing that was not right was me. I was just feeling a little bit suffocated at one point. And I remember telling the guys, I said, hey, you know, you guys, because, you know, they're having a good time. And I'm like, I think I'm going to ride back to the Airbnb and get some sleep. I was just not having a good day. And as I'm going to my bike, I hear somebody yell my name, and, you know, it pretty much had been happening, you know, most of the time there. So I turn around and I see this guy. He goes, hey, you're Frankie. And I go, yeah, how you doing? And he goes, yeah, man, I wrote you on Instagram once. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I'm trying to place a name and a face and maybe a profile pic in my head. And I go, well, how you doing? He goes, I'm okay. I said, cool. He goes, you heading out? I'm like, yeah, you know. He goes, you know, I wrote you. I told you I was, you know, having trouble drinking, and, you know, I was having a hard time with it, and you wrote me back. So then I started, the wheels are going. I'm like, okay, I think I've had a couple of these, but I think I kind of remember where this guy, and I go, are you from, like, I hope I'm saying the state right, like Ohio or something like that? And he goes, I was, but I moved to this state now. I said, oh, okay, well, I remember you, and I'm glad I remembered. And I go, well, how are you doing? And he goes, oh, man, you know, I'm at Sturgis, and I'm looking around, and everybody's, you know, having a really good time, you know. And I said, okay. So, and he goes, I got 2 years sober now. And I go, oh, yeah? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I was about ready to pull the plug that night, man. You talked me off a ledge. Thank you so much.
Wow.
What this guy didn't realize was, brother, you kind of talked me off a ledge. I needed to hear that because I'm kind of, I was feeling a little bit, a little bit of despair at that time. And I was like, wow, I need to follow my own advice. And this guy kind of made me get right in that moment. You know what I mean? I was grateful to him. Like, in a way, you kind of saving me right now. And, I talked with him for a bit, and I was, and I didn't want to ruin his moment because, he was proud of his 2 years. I was really happy for him. But it's just that whole thing, like sometimes when you think you're reaching out and you respond, that life you think you're helping might be your own one day, ironically enough. And to me, that was such a heavy moment. I was pretty affected when I rode home and got a good night's sleep that night. And the next day I woke up and everything was kind of different. The trip was better. I was happier. I was in a healthier place in my mind. But it's just weird how that plays out, So when I tell people, like, reach out, you just never know.
Yeah. In so many levels, too. In so many levels. It doesn't have to be, I mean, if you're in a situation like that, reach out.
Yeah.
Reach out and ask for support and help. But even on simpler things, even on surface things, it doesn't even have to be that extreme or that deep, because sometimes you could even prevent getting to that moment if you just if you reach out. And I think the problem is that people probably have a couple friends they can talk to, but it's so casual, the friendship, that nobody kind of takes it serious. So they're like, who gives a fuck? Nah, just move on.
Get over it.
Get over it, And if you're getting that treatment, like you said, just reach out, man, because there is people that have been through it.
Yeah.
It's like books. You want to learn how to do something, you read somebody's books. You use their examples. You use their experience. They're sharing this information. Same thing, man. There is organizations throughout every state, every country that helps people.
And it needs to be that way, because for a while people didn't make that okay.
No, it wasn't accepted. It was socially unacceptable. And then the movies even promoted it back then. Like if you go into the cowboy movies, like you hold your, nobody wants to hear a man complain, you know. Just don't, I don't know if I should say this, but
say it.
Don't complain or don't vent with your spouse.
I wouldn't know that one.
I think she'll entertain it. She'll talk to you about it, but it's so bad for the relationship. I think there is professional places you can get help. I think there's phones, therapists, counselors. There's so many ways to take the right approach, but I strongly suggest do not go to your loved one or your significant other or your girlfriend or whatever you're dealing with, because they have their own things. And I just never seen it strengthen the relationship.
And it's crazy because you have your tribe that does.
Yeah.
There's two people that come to mind. Danny Pino, when I play Miguel Galindo, it's so opposite of what you see on TV.
Yeah.
That guy's been there for me. Just, that guy's been on set and texted me back. Just, just being a brother.
Right.
And then today, I'm going to put him on blast, Emilio Rivera. We were talking today. Emilio. we were talking about a couple things, and we always, if I go on a ride somewhere and he knows I'm on the road, he's like, you better text me. Like when I was at church, you let me know you got to the hotel, and if I don't, I'll hear about it. I mean, he'll slam the hammer. But also, if I need to talk to him, I can talk to him, or he can talk to me. And I told him today, and I don't know, there's that, I don't know if it's not even a shame, but there's that thing as men we do sometimes, we downplay things.
Right.
And I said, hey, brother, I know you're there for me, and I appreciate that. And, sometimes I felt like this last time I talked to you, about this one thing was like a wasted card. And he's like, brother, it's never a wasted card. You got all the cards you need with me. And like when he said that, I'm just like, yes. These are the people I have in my life. And it hit me when he said it, but it really hit me actually when I was riding over here. Like, that was deep. I mean, he's a deep guy, but that's, like I said, that's another thing when I think about the show, people like that I have in my life.
And that's kind of like what I mean. It's just better to deal with if you have a bro or a guy that's
Right.
been through similar, it's going to be much better. But because your spouse is not your bro
Right.
or a guy and hasn't been through it, it becomes difficult because then they start getting doubt and they'll support you, but then in the back of their head, they have something else. So if you have a bro, reach out to your bro, you
Right.
know, and sadly, a lot of people don't have bros like that you're talking about.
I'm fortunate. I have a good tribe.
But fortunately, there is, you know, Movember and,
Right.
you know, these organizations and people that do want to help other people.
Well, and that's why I hope a lot of guys come out to DGR. Even people that think they would never go, come out and check it out.
Yeah.
You're going to get something good out of it. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm seriously ecstatic about this, because like I said, what it's about. And for
Well,
some
not
reason,
only that, but the ride's awesome and the
The
party's
ride's cool.
fun and
I did the ride. I saw what's going down. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like
Where was it starting? I'm kidding.
don't
I'm kidding.
know.
Come on, man. Tell me, man.
You know, I can't say anything, but it's a fun ride. And like I said, it's cool. And like I said, it's a legit thing, man. It's about keeping human beings human, keeping them happy, keeping them strong.
It's about bonding. You know, again, I had Mark Hawa on the podcast, and just the amount of stories of partnerships in business that people have made.
Yeah.
People that met each other and now they got married.
Right.
People that met each other, another boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case is. It's a good environment.
It is. And that's why I'm looking forward to it. Sometimes events get me a little like, I don't sleep very good the night before or what have you, but you know, I know Advan Black.
Yeah, I gotta throw that on your camera.
Yes. I hope Jessica can see this. Jessica from Advan Black, I hope that you're seeing this hat right here. I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Focus, there it is. Boom.
They're a godsend.
Advan Black. I will agree with that statement.
I'm excited. Yeah, my bags kind of, they took a bad bump, and I was going to spend a pretty penny, and somehow Jessica got in the mix and was like, would you like to come and look at our products? I'm like, really, you have to twist my arm? Like, yeah, I'm there, and they're going to take care of one of my babies to make sure that she's road ready.
Look, Jessica is a sweetheart. She's a doll.
She is.
Alan is awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody in that facility is amazing. Their
Nice.
warehouse is legit.
I've seen, I can't wait to check it out in
Legit,
person.
full operational, huge. You know, like at first I was like, is this like a little shop? No,
Right.
they are the real deal. They're super legit. I'm supposed to have them on the podcast as well.
Nice.
I want to do a YouTube video of what they got going on back
Right.
there. I mean, their Ty's amazing. He's the one that installs everything. Jaime did the interfering on his ST.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just can't say enough of good stuff.
There's some good people out there. You know, I've just linked up with them. I've got TBR.
Yeah,
Those guys are the
TBR.
best.
Yeah,
The
two
best.
brothers are
Love those guys.
they're a nice pipe, man.
They did an install at my house at 1 o'clock in the morning once
No
to make
fucking
sure I
way.
was good to go. Yeah, I got clipped up on, it was off Mulholland, Christmas. I was on my way to see Sid Croft, and a drunk guy cut me off and went down and screwed up my brand new exhaust. They went and replaced it. Really good guys. And then Factory 47, they're another company. It's just so, I think I enjoy riding because I know what I'm riding with, you know, like LaPera and Saddleman both have done good.
Saddleman's amazing.
Buster.
I'm supposed to talk to LaPera pretty soon. Schedule something with them.
Good.
LaPera's old school, man.
Yeah.
Old school, man. I've been riding long enough. It's funny because you have too. It's crazy to think how little companies there were back in the days.
Right.
You know, there was like Custom Chrome, there was LaPera, there was Corbin,
Right.
and then a few little brands here and there.
I
And
like
it's
Corbin too.
Corbin. I used to have the Gunfighter. I had
Yeah.
a 2003 FXD XT before all the
Right.
shows, like when it was OG.
Right.
And I had the Gunfighter, the Corbin Gunfighter on
Right.
that seat. Fucking badass. Love that seat.
Yeah, Mo over at LaPera, her and some friends of mine gave me a nice Christmas present for the Street Glide. I love that thing. It's just so comfortable.
I'm checking them out.
Yeah, hit up Mo. She's a sweetheart.
So Mo is a homie from
Yeah.
back in the days.
Mo's
And I
rad.
just saw her here at the local dealer, and I was like, "Oh, you're back at the dealer?" And she's like, "No, I'm here with LaPera." And
Right.
I was like, "Oh shit!" She's like, "Swing by." And I was
Yeah.
like, "All right, cool."
She's legit.
Mo's awesome.
And then, you know, I mean, I get wrenched on over at Bartell's, and, you know, Debbie and Ron and
Bartell
Glenn.
is, I'm saying it, Bartell's is my favorite dealership of all time.
Hands down.
Their service, your launch, Trinidad.
They launched. They've been super supportive.
Yeah.
They're, yeah.
Bartell's is amazing. I just hooked up Michael Beach with Bartell's.
Oh, nice.
Because he had a bad experience with 2 bikes that he was trying to sell with some other dealers.
Oh.
And, yeah, weird, right?
Yeah.
And Colton came through, picked up the bikes, you know, has been moving them,
Good.
keeping everything posted. Bartell's, hands down, is my spot.
I mean, even if I'm just passing through, you know, like I like to see Debbie a lot. She's just a sweetheart. Ron's always gracious and good. And they supported our launch with our jeans.
I was going to say that was the first location you guys had, right?
Yes, and nothing but supportive, nothing but love. And I always tell people, like, you know, sometimes a certain name that we ride gets a bad rap, but when it comes to a dealership that keeps it solid, Bartell's, hands down. You know, I mean,
I agree with that statement. Bartell's, another spot that I do appreciate, and I will shoot out, is Matt from Laidlaw. Laidlaw.
Matt was a very nice guy. Met him. I like him.
That's amazing.
I like him a lot.
Matt, I miss you. I got to get you back on. Matt, his family, that operation's pretty legit too.
I met them through Robin, who's at TBR now.
Nice.
And good guy. I think that's the thing, right? People, like, you know, when I think about riding too, it's almost like every component that you have that you roll with, it's personal.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because I think about, you know, like, I know DGR offered certain specials on certain, you know, gear. Biltwell has always been good to me. Otto, you know,
Yeah.
always been good to me, and they sent me out a helmet, you know, for the ride. And it's just kindness, you know. It's just I'm always amazed by that, you know, just how cool and supportive, especially on this run, people were, you know, like I said, from the suits to my helmet, you know, to the bike, to everything, because now I can focus on why I'm really going to be there. And like I said, spending time with these guys prior to this whole thing, to the buildup of it, has just been really, I said, I wish we were doing this pre-production thing for the next 6 months, because I'm enjoying what I'm doing with you guys. And, but Sunday's going
to be amazing.
Man, I can't wait.
Brother, we covered over an hour.
Wow.
Anything we missed? Any shout outs? Any?
I mean, I think we gave them, I mean, just in the conversation, they got the shout outs.
Yeah.
But
I think so too, but
yeah.
anything we missed?
I did miss, I want to give a shout out post Mother's Day to my bratty little sister, who has got to be one of the raddest moms, raised 2 of the greatest kids, my godchildren, niece and nephew, and then my brother-in-law too. She's got a great husband. I didn't make it home for Mother's Day because, you know, I did the DGR trial run, but there's just a lot of good women out there I know who raise their kids right, you know, and I wanted to wish them all a happy Mother's Day. And the new moms, you know, that I know just had kids, I haven't forgot about you all. I just want you to know that. I hope you had a day that you got to celebrate yourself and be celebrated.
Thank you, Frankie. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks, brother.
We'll jump back on afterwards, after the show, and we'll do a